Okay, so at this phase, we're going to the number 3, the third phase, which is communication. So we see the pattern now as selfish versus unselfish, as being the lower and the higher consciousness. So in talking and communicating, you think selfish as being the person who talks a lot, who doesn't make sense of what they're saying too. They don't make their point clear, versus the person who has a point, makes that point clear, and that's the purpose of communicating. Okay, it's like a succinct communication versus just communicating a bunch of mind chatter. So that's where we're talking about mercurial. That's the first air that comes in, that's thinking. The first was just really about material, and it was about its mind. And no, that was the second, Taurus. It's associated with its mind. And at the first, that's definitely its mine. I obtained that, I got that, I deserve that, I should own that, and it's all mine. As to compared to the opposite of the benevolent, you know what, I'm going to share with you because I definitely have enough, and I'm not going to expect anything back. And even if you don't give back, then it's okay, because I know I helped you, and that might just make my world a happier place and further the health of humankind in some way. They might have a grandson that is a massive, I don't know, genius healer or something. You know what I mean? It's just about being benevolent and giving the excesses. And that's high up on the positive side of the higher consciousness, as opposed to, say, the sociopath, those traits of the antisocial behavior, the psychosis, psychopath. Okay, that's 10. I mean, we're talking 10. Like when we get all those traits, which I'm going to describe here as we go up to subconscious. Okay, we're already living in a subconscious world right now. The conscious is where we come from. Things move pretty quickly according to your visuals. You know, it's a high vibration. It feels good. There's no real low vibration of disharmonic energies. Here, you get here, and you're on a network, and you're connected to these other people in this huge dream here too. So there's a backdrop, and there's a network going on within that. It's like there's a lot of chatter in Google, and it's always coming up pop-ins and whatever. So it's similar to that, but at the same time, you can disconnect with that. In the network of lower consciousness, just by focusing your mind and knowing that that subconsciousness is filled with all kinds of think about it like a bunch of Googles, but they're all different, and everyone connected at different how would you say, like vibrations or frequencies, because each one in each DNA has its own frequency, and each frequency of people who resonate at a similar one, they have their own frequencies. There's many frequencies. Each species has its own frequency. It's like a network, like a spider web that goes all around. Each one has their own, and we're all connected in our glands, in our minds, in our pineal gland. Okay, we're all connected, but we're really connected the more our pineal glands are open. Okay, and that's the whole purpose to learning the benevolent side and becoming of a higher consciousness, so that you can open that pineal gland, and so that you can lift above all the pains. So I'm going to go on further to this description really of the higher consciousness versus lower in the fourth phase, which is about the time that person starts really realizing, like, wow, this is reality. You know, so it's like becoming semi-conscious in this subconscious world. You know, you're conscious where you come from, and then you descend into what they call the clay, all the, you know, the particles and the rocks and the water. Here we have this body, and we feel, and we're in this clay, and so that's what they call it. So then we become conscious, semi-conscious. We're not conscious yet. We can't lucidly dream and fly at the same time, lucidly, and wake up in the dream yet, but we become more conscious of what the reality is all about. Then that's when we can discern what's a good thought and feels good versus a bad thought and feels bad. Instantly at that point, that's when a baby would cry or just be happy. There isn't really a whole lot of contemplation on the thought. It's just, does it feel good or does it feel bad? It's subconscious. All of this is going on in the subconscious mind. Feel good or feel bad, feel good or feel bad, feel good or feel bad, because the feel good is what guides you, and the feel bad is what repels you, takes you away from that, puts you in a better direction. Okay, so a lot of what we or associating with the fourth phase, that really describes the Cancer, you know, ruled by the moon. The moon, think subconscious, think nighttime, think the opposite polarity of day, more receptive, right? You know, day conscious, you're awake, more receptive and female in the night. And when you think of that, think fertility, okay? Think fertility. That's when there's a lot of healing at night too, you know? Fecundance. That's the word I'm trying to say, but I'm a little congested. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. How much more time do we have left before, is it like?
I think 5 minutes.
Okay, so let's go to, okay, at about the fifth phase, this is when the person becomes conscious, really sort of more conscious, like, oh, there's a me, and I'm different than everybody else. And at the lower phase, or the immature phase, that's when the person kind of sees and picks on their own qualities and sees things that they are, like, they wish they had more. You know, I wish I had bigger muscles. I wish I was bigger. I wish I was smaller. I wish I was taller. Whatever. You look and you just kind of pick on yourself. That's the lower consciousness. And the higher consciousness here is seeing the best qualities and bringing that more attention, enhancing those good qualities. You know, so there's that scale here where one can be stunted and immature in this very Leo place here, where pride is a very important key. Pride, you know, the strongest and proudest lion is going to be the king of the forest, you know, the one quivering and afraid and feeling like he's so wrong and bad. That's the other end of the spectrum here. It's not, you know, it's not going to, it isn't like himself. He's not going to be very strong. He's not going to survive, and he isn't going to leave his DNA behind in his generations, and, you know. So I guess that's where, you know, we're going to end at the fifth here. That's fire. It's, you know, think of that in a code. We went through fire, we went through earth, we went through air, and then we went through water, and then we're back again at fire, where we're talking about when a soul begins to realize there's self-consciousness, and the attention to negative things brings negative, and it really feeds into it, whereas the attention to positive things within, you look at yourself and you think of the positive things, that brings more positive energy to that feature. So if you're looking at yourself being a runner, and you love to run, and you put positive energy into that and positive visuals, then you could be a runner. But if you put negative energy and think, I can never do that, I can never do that, you know, you're going to really manifest at wherever your scale is of either I can't, I won't, I never will, or, you know, you put more faith and more happy visuals into I will and I can. But more so than that, it's being mean to yourself and hurting yourself and seeing the worst things and just really, you know, having a hard time with that. It's just painful, as opposed to giving yourself positive energy. You know, there's where things get a little rougher as we get older in this cycles here. That's the next fire up. It's the next phase up, you know, that things get a little more, right? Because now you're discerning putting too much positive, as in too much confidence, too much going after a lower ego. Okay, that's the problem, as opposed to confidence of, you know, I'm the king, I'm the strong one, I can take care of my family, I have a belief in myself that I can obtain the successes. You know, that's confidence. That, you know, you just know that you're doing your best and you're succeeding at it, and it's going to bring you to a better place in life than you are right now. You know? So then we're going to end there, and the next one we're going to talk about is the sixth phase, Virgo.